Cosplay World, we're back with a Monday question, except it's not one Monday, it's like Tuesday night. This is the third time recording this. I'm having some serious problems with Max. It's a program. It is very, very likely my ignorance and inability to use the program correctly, but it's frustrating nonetheless, and I'm having problems. My files are all saving funky, and I have lost like some footage. Oh well. But I'll fix it. It'll be okay. It'll fix it. Anyway, I'm trying to get the Canon footage up for you guys, even if I have to upload it, say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever the case may be. I'll upload it so that it's all there, and then we'll have something for next week. Tried to get that up for you guys last week. Anyway, busy. I have been making plastic and different things. I have exciting news. You might have seen my Facebook post about material that I'm hoping to show off soon. I need to confer with some of my cosplay friends on what their thoughts are, because it's not something that you guys can get a hold of. It's something I have to make, kind of. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see where that goes. I don't know, like, tease and tantalize you guys with the prospect of a new cosplay material. And I hope you know me. I hope you know me well enough that I won't give you a bunch of bullshit, and I'll try to make something that's useful. I'll try to make something useful and something that's bullshit. Like, was it Goldieborg? What was that? I don't know. So, let's talk about skeletal structure. There's someone who wants to make a minotaur. No. A half horse, half goat, half horse mythical beast from Bleach. That might narrow it down. Anyway, they're wondering how to do a skeletal structure, and they kind of have the gist of it because I give them some general insight into how to do it, or how I do it anyway. It's up to each individual person at the end of the day how they want to do theirs. But I guess since they're asking me for advice, I'll tell them how I do it. I will make the skeletal structure. Well, we're going to start with the skeletal structure because what's important is you start with a good support, otherwise it could fall apart and break and it'd be no good. Now, one problem you can run into is the weight to strength ratio problem. You make it super strong, make it super heavy, and then that's not doing you a lot of good if you're going heavy, tired, you don't want to even be in the costume, bad times. So you want to play around with materials and figure out where that, okay, it's pretty strong, I can get around with it, this is where I'm happy. Maybe it's not the strongest thing, maybe it'll take a little bit of con damage, but I'm happy with it, I can use it, it's kind of where I'm happy with it. But what I use largely for skeletal structure is PVC pipe. Now, PVC pipe you would expect to glue together with the little PVC glue that's like blue or clear, whatever you buy in the hardware stores. No, toss all that. That's not useful for our purposes. It's great for keeping it sealed and waterproof. Not great for handling stress and strains of being used as a mechanical, being used as structure, support structure. Sorry guys, it's just not. And then I was asked for this project specifically about this glue. Now this glue, in case you guys don't know what, is called Weldon. It's made by Weldon. It's called 2007 rigid vinyl. You can pause the video and then look at this. There we go. Alright, it's a little smudge from being used, but and I got it from Tap Plastics, and there's the price right there on the top. It's $16.35, and you probably won't use it nearly as quickly as I have, but this has lasted me maybe a year now. Not that bad. Remember to get the syringe dropper to make it last much longer. This is brown because it's kind of rusty on the inside, but it doesn't really affect it that much. It's just, I think I dropped the cap in here, and the cap got rusty. And I think that's the reason why. But anyway, chemically it works fine. But that won't be for a support structure with PVC pipe. I wouldn't recommend this either. What I'd recommend for getting pipe to stick together is cold, strong screws. That's the only thing that works. Glues, not really. Glues, when you're under stress and you're moving about and doing this, it'll strain and it'll pull apart. And not so great. When you're gluing pieces that have a lot of surface area, there's not really a whole lot of wiggling here. So, I mean, that's fine. That's great. But in this case, screws. Screws, screws, screws. If you haven't seen my videos, what I'd like to do is I like to heat up the surface area so it's easier to put the screw in, and then, or to drill a hole. If you are drilling a hole, this is not a drill bit, but it can be easy to go from and drill one side or the other and maybe nick your hand or something else very painful. So one thing I like to do is heat up the surface so it's pliable and it takes the drill much easier. I have here a Yankee push drill. I don't expect you to have one because they don't make them anymore, but this is my favorite tool, and this is what I personally use to drill holes if I don't use my Dremel. I like hand tools because even though they're slower, you get a little bit more control with hand tools, if that makes sense, because they're slower, you have more fine-tuned. Oh well, when you'll probably have a Dremel, I still recommend you heat up the plastic just a little bit in order for that to get a little bit of bite and get on in there. Okay? Now, I like to use the inch diameter PVC pipe. I think this is 1.25 inches. This is a little bit bigger than necessary, but the inch one is what you want for, say, legs or the spine area. I mean, if you look at like the skeletal structure of whatever animal you're trying to reproduce, you got a good idea of what you're trying to make. You don't need the replicated 1%. Just the basic support structure will work. But you can heat this up just as much as you can heat that up, because this just takes a bit longer. Okay, now I had 2 of these pipes, and I want to demonstrate the difference. Here, if I can point this down the barrel of the camera, you can see this one is a bit thicker than this one. This one is cheaper by, say, 20 cents on average. This is okay if you're using it for something that's not going to bear weight. If you want something that's going to bear weight and it'll hold screws much better, you want this stuff. It's thicker, it holds screws better. That's how it works. Okay, so let's pretend we're making a leg. How simple is it to make a leg? Well, we're going to heat this up, and I'm going to crank this up to max. Because, well, I'm trying to do this quickly. But what you can do is you can heat this up. Now, you notice I'm moving this quickly. One thing you'll notice when working with PVC pipe is that it's a very smooth surface. You will, I'm using the light here from my camera light. The light I use to do video. But anyway, it's got a shine on it. When that shine goes away, I can tell that it's heated up enough. Also, it's not bending at all, so there we go. That might be an indication too. And I'm always keeping this moving. I don't want it to burn. I don't want it to release nasty gas. It's not good to breathe nasty gas. So be careful of those things. Always have a ventilated room and all that good stuff. And be aware that absolutely everything I do is dangerous in at least some form. Okay, so there we go. Now heated it up, and there we go. I'm gonna make this the foot part. Yeah. So no, we're gonna make this the back of the digitigrade. So this is like the foot's gonna be right here, and then this is the back of the digitigrade, because digitigrades have this back weird bend thing. So I'm gonna blow on this and heat this up. Now, this is like a 45-degree bend. That's a pretty strong bend. The more you bend it inwards, the more it's going to be easy. The weaker it's going to be. With this, it's pretty strong. When it gets hard, it's going to be pretty strong. I don't need to do anything to do this. I don't need to do anything to this to reinforce this if it doesn't have to bear weight. Okay, but if it's bent all the way over, it's probably going to be very weak right here. You might want to reinforce that with a couple screws. Just run it through to make sure that it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to bend this again to make our back of our digitigrade leg. Okay. Now, this has made a long video, I can already tell, because it's kind of a complicated question. It's an in-depth question. And the person I was talking to had an interest in using chicken wire. Now, I don't remember they're going to use chicken wire. Chicken wire is something I don't use. It is kind of hard to cut, in my opinion. That's definitely not hot enough. Okay, it's hard to cut in my opinion. And well, the main problem I have with it is that it will cut you up on the inside. You need to bend down all those little barbs, all those little edges, everything, and make sure that it doesn't hurt you. I have been in more than one costume, 2 or 3 I think, with that I've used chicken wire and gotten myself rather cut up over the weekend. Learn from me and don't do that. What do I use? I use that black stuff behind me. That's plastic mesh. You can find it in the same section as chicken wire in most cases. I don't know if it's sold around the world, but it's definitely sold in the North American region. Here we go. There we go. There's an example. Now, you can see here, if I bend it all the way over like this, that's not particularly strong. When it's cooled, I would recommend putting screws through here, or whatever the case might be, to kind of reinforce it. But there we go. If it's got like a nice round shape like this, this comes out to be a pretty strong bend. Okay, so there we go. Now on to this mesh. What's so good about this mesh? Well, you can get through this with good scissors, I would recommend. You can sew through it pretty easily. Because the chicken wire has those big kind of holes, it doesn't hold as well. And you can make a fursuit out of this just fine. And I have personally used this on several of my projects. If you've seen, in I think 2010, I made a Sin from the Sin. It's called Final Fantasy X. If you've played it, you know the evil boss is called Sin. It's this big whale thing. Made one the size of a cab, and to cut weight, this is the mesh I used. In fact, this might in fact be part of it that I saved. Yes, in fact, I think it is. Yeah, this is probably one of the belly plates. Yeah. When I scrap stuff, I try and save what I can. Oh well. If I can save any. But you can cut this, you can sew it to fabric, you can sew it onto pipe. What I would recommend for pipe is maybe putting a couple holes through the pipe to kind of make sure you have some place to sew it to. It's as simple as drilling a hole through and securing it, or sewing it around it. This is what I'd used. They were going on about, they said something about, I should say, use PVC plastic to kind of fill out the body. I would make ribs out of the 1/2-inch pipe, and then covers kind of form the body out of this mesh. This is about the same price as chicken wire, and in the fall it goes on sale because people aren't using it for planting tomatoes or anything. So they need to get rid of extra stock. Usually, I make no guarantees in prices at any time ever. But yeah, fall's when I usually get enough to last me a year. Oh well. But they usually have it year round. Usually have it near year round. Anyway, this is what I use. Piece of plastic is about $2 a square foot. This stuff's about $8 a roll. Much cheaper. I think it's a much better option. Also, it gives you a certain amount of flexibility, which you may want, and be plushy and not tear. Anyway, those are my suggestions. You could, when joining pipe together, you could buy those like little fittings that are say 15, 20, 35 cents a piece and joint them together. Or you could just bend them like this and put screws in them. I assure you, you can eat this up and put a screw in it and attach them together. Not too big of a deal. Put 2 or 3 screws if you'd like. Whatever makes it stronger. So, I do have a couple of those fittings, but it's usually when I try to avoid spending that kind of money, because those bits and pieces can be pretty expensive when they start adding up. Oh well, cosplay world. I have been ranting at you, but this is kind of a more than a simple question. It's a more in-depth question about further. Now, if you want to see me using this material, I use it to make my Bonder costume and kind of the head shape. I use foam. You can always put foam over it. Takes it just fine. You just sew through it, no problem. Oh well, thanks for the question. You probably saved me 1 or 2 rants, or maybe 5 rants down the road. that because I can refer them to this video instead of typing it out. Try and help as many people as I can, but oh well, tired. This week has been busy. Last week, I finally got my new material to work. It's very good. I like it. It's awesome. I hope to share it with you soon. I'm sharing it with a couple close friends, see what they think. I don't want to really move too fast because it could be very expensive and put me even more debt than I already am with my student loans, and I don't really need that. Yeah, I owe them quite a bit of money. Oh well, guys. On that note, I'm gonna end my rant and just ask that to subscribe, like, and do all those good things. Leave me a comment. Leave me more questions for next week because any question you have, someone else is gonna have the question on the line, and I'm sure this will save them time, save me time maybe. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Good times all. I'm just gonna push this button on the back of the camera.